Hooky.
Okay. So this is the unhooking II, or what we will say, delaying attachment.
So it's good if you can delay that. I've seen a lot of people.
This is Cathy from the Intimacy Dojo, in case you didn't watch the last one.
And this is Reid from ReidAboutSex.com. So I've personally experienced it. I've seen friends where they get hooked on a partner, a dating experience, a friend really soon before they really know them. And it can be kind of fun to be deeply connected with someone, but when you get hooked early, you don't always make good decisions. I've been there. I know that. How do you delay that hooking experience?
Okay, so this is kind of falls under the rubric of just generally like psychological and chemical imprinting. So the joke that I say when I'm giving lectures on imprinting, it's like, when you create really powerful experiences for people, especially first time, when you whatever that is, like you take somebody's virginity of whatever experience, and they're just like, whoa, and you rock their world, or you blew their mind in such a way that like something shifted for them. For them, and also for people who are starving for certain kinds of experiences or social connection or sex, like for the people who are starving, it's like you go grocery shopping when you're hungry, and you end up making
everything in the store.
Yeah, you make bad food choices. So you're actually kind of making bad imprinting choices because you don't realize that you're susceptible to imprinting because you haven't been getting certain needs met and sourcing them in other places. And then for the people who are like first time experiences that are really powerful, or even for whatever reason, a really powerful experience. It doesn't have to be their first time.
Especially if it's the first time, your brain's kind of like, oh, I'm never going to get that anywhere else. I have to get it from this person.
Yeah, or it's been sucky every other time, and then you're like, oh my God, you're the savior. I call those people baby chicks because it's like you hatch them, and they're like, peep, 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 and they just follow you all over the place. Ways to delay those. I'll say sexually speaking, because it's more fun to talk about and it'll get more hits. But it can happen the same way for emotional and cognitive, things. People who are just starving for good brain food, and then you're just like pontificating and just feeding them ideas, and they just like they develop a crush on their teacher.
Yes.
It's like, wow, you're so smart. You're amazing. I want to eat your brain. So it doesn't matter if it's how it comes about, but ways that you can delay imprinting are creating containers, saying this is what we're doing and exploring, and then you do that, and then at the end of it you say thank you for doing this thing that we explored.
Close the container.
You close the container, and then you watch the first video and you do your little energetic unhooking, which is, whether you believe in energy or not, like you're cognitively creating, an anchor for what this was and what it is not. Without doing that, people start making things mean things. Other ways to delay imprinting have to do a lot with time. If you, let's say for sex, right? Because I kind of talk about this in another lecture, and kind of like I call these my slut protocols.
Okay.
And I think people who are sluts or generous with their genitals, people who have their black belts in promiscuity, which means they're promiscuous, and no one's angry at them because they're clean and precise. I think what you end up doing is there are some people who are just really susceptible to falling in love. And then there are people who, it's not like they're not intimate or vulnerable. They're just, their brain chemistry doesn't mug them in the same way. So they can just be more cognizant and present. They can still have a great time, enjoy it, but they're not like in love. Yeah. Time is really useful in keeping things from being hooked or anchoring. Okay. The imprinting piece. So like if I'm having really great hookup sex with somebody, there's a big difference between we, get together once a month versus we get together 3 nights in a row every week. Right. Because if we're having really amazing sex and really digging each other, those 3 days in a row you're basically bathing your brain in oxytocin and a bunch of other
And
chemicals.
it's gonna crash afterwards.
Well, you're more susceptible to imprinting.
Mm-hmm.
So delayed, like seeing each other once a month, it usually ends up being great for most people to not unhook or to not hook. Doesn't mean you're happy about it, right? But you're like, wow, I'm not necessarily falling in love.
And can't, at least in my experience, if you're dating, like when you first start dating someone, if you see each other a lot, like night after night, you really fall. It can be really intense, really quick. Whereas if you see each other maybe a week apart, and then over time, it may be okay to step that up because you've kind of got a baseline. You're a little more stable.
Well, and the thing like the thing with love is I don't think you can necessarily prevent falling in love.
Mm-hmm.
It's, are you guys a good fit for falling in love?
Yeah, making a conscious choice about it rather than like, I must have you.
Yeah, and a lot of people when they're in love, I mean, chemically speaking, they do MRIs. They've done MRI studies where the areas of your brain that are lit up when you're in love are the same areas of your brain that are lit up when you're addicted to crack.
Yes.
You are not making rational choices. So it's really useful for you to figure out how to delay that so that you can stay rational. And
keep your feet under you.
yeah, for most people, everyone has heard the story of, we had a date, Friday night and it ended Monday morning.
Yeah.
There's a good chance one of you or both of you is imprinted. And you just think they're your soulmate. No, they might be, but odds are, but you just feel like they're your soulmate because of the brain chemistry and things like that.
And
so
6 months later, you realize you've moved across the country and
yeah, you moved in, to their house the next week. Like that's a love brain chemistry response. For the most part, not everybody. I know we're gonna get some nasty comments there, being like, "I did that. It was the love of my life. They were my soulmate." Yes, I get it. So the two basic ones are creating strong containers and closing rituals or communicating your needs and boundaries at the end of a strong, powerful experience, and delaying how many times you see each other. Just time-wise, like, once a week works really well for some people. But if you go on a long weekend, to a resort and all you guys do is knock boots all weekend, that long weekend will probably result in one of you imprinting or both of you imprinting, and then you're in la la land and maybe not making great choices.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.